Namaste. We are continuing our learning about Purushotthama, the name that addresses Sri Krishna, in this continuing episode. We saw that Purushotthama appears 5 times in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, thrice referred by Arjuna and twice by Sri Krishna himself. In this chapter, in this episode, we are going to look at Purushotthama addressing himself as Purushottama. In the 10th chapter, as we saw in the earlier episode, it was Arjuna who said, "Only you know your greatness, hey Purushottama, please tell me more," is what Arjuna is seeking with Lord Krishna. Now, we are going to see Purushottama calling himself Purushottama, and what best bliss can we have. The chapter 15 is called the Purushottama Yoga. In chapter 15, sloka 18 and 19, as the sloka will follow after this, will show how Sri Krishna addresses himself as Purushottama.
Yasmaksharamati अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतिथः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवमसम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत.
In the slokas, we will always see there are terms mentioned as Shara Akshara. We know that in Sanskrit, Akshara is a reference to the alphabets, but the deeper meaning of Akshara is one that cannot perish, or one is immortal, it is eternal. So that is called Akshara. So obviously the corollary of Akshara will be Shara, one that perishes. This body will perish, but the Atma inside is Akshara, it is eternal. So it can take rebirth and rebirth as we saw by karma, but the body will keep perishing, and we as Jivatma will get a different body, and what body we will get, the karma will decide. So that is the cycle of our birth, death and rebirth. So the Jivatma is Akshara, the body is Shara, which is perishable. Similarly, various matters around us can perish. It can be there today, a building can be there today, it can be gone tomorrow, it's perishable. A vehicle or anything you take it, it will be there today, it will not be there tomorrow, they are Shara. But what is eternal is the Jivatma, but what is beyond all this Shara and Akshara is Purushottama. Lord Krishna says in the 15th chapter that I am Purushottama, I am beyond Shara and Akshara, and I am controlling and I am governing all that is perishable and all that is eternal. The eternal Jivatma can be grouped into 3 people. The Baddhatmas, as we call it, as currently referring you and I, who go through the samsara of pleasures, pains, excitement, joy, sorrow, dancing, everything, happiness, everything that we go through is Baddhatmas. And then we have Muktatmas, Baddhatmas who got liberated. On how do one get liberation? Understanding that Sri Krishna as Purushottama is everything, and surrender at his divine feet, asking him or requesting Sri Krishna to relieve us from this burden of birth, death and rebirth. So those Atmas who are liberated are called Muktatmas. And then we have Nityatmas. Nityatmas as Sri Garuda, as Sri Sheshnag, the Adisesh, and many others who are in the eternal service of Sriman Narayana is about in Sri Vaikuntha, are Nityatmas. They are Nitya Atmas. They are eternal. They are there in eternal service of the Lord. So we have Baddhatmas who go through the samsara, whose body perishes but their Jivatma is eternal, the Shara and Akshara. Then we have the Muktatmas, those Jivatmas who liberated from the cycle of birth, death and rebirth. And then we have the Nityatmas who are on eternal service of Sriman Narayana as Sri Krishna in Sri Vaikuntha. Purushottama is above all these Atmas, and he as Paramatma is the one who decides how we are born, how we go through our cycle of birth, death and rebirth, and he is the one who grants liberation so that we become Muktatmas. Purushottama can also be referred as Purushanam Uttamaha, Purusheshu Uttamaha. We saw that in an earlier episode. He is above all Purushas, and he is Purusha's Lord of Lords, a Lord of everything as Purusha. He is the Uttama, Purusheshu Uttama. So that Purushottama is again helps every Jivatma to liberate the cycle of birth, death and rebirth and attain him. And Sri Krishna says in the 15th chapter, 18th and 19th sloka, as Purushottama, he says, those Atmas who realize that I as Sri Krishna is the Purushottama is an Atma which is in complete worship. Sampurna worship refers to such Atma as Asamuda, an Atma which is gaining knowledge, a wise Atma, because the Atma realizes that Sri Krishna is Purushottama and only seeks everything at the divine feet of Sri Krishna. And as the Vedas have been interpreted by great Acharyas, the Jivatma has been grouped as Chit and Achit. Then we have the Paramatma defined as Ishvara. So Chit, Achit, Ishvara, which we call the Tattva Trayam, three Tattvas, the Chit Tattva, the Achit Tattva and the Ishvara Tattva. Ishvara Tattva is Purushottama. That is what we get to see by various Itihasa Puranas. Srimad Bhagavata Purana explains this. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita we see how the Ishvara is Sri Krishna himself. The Chit, as I said, the one Jivatma which has knowledge. Again, you and I, we know that we are humans, that we know that the body is different and Jiva is different. We know body is Shara, Jiva is Akshara, and we know this Jivatma belongs to Paramatma. We know who is Paramatma? Sri Krishna is Paramatma. And we know that we are always subservient to Paramatma. And we know that we seek refuge at the divine feet of Purushottama, which is Sri Krishna, and ask for refuge, liberation from the cycle of birth, death and rebirth at his divine feet. The Achit are those matters which doesn't have any of this knowledge. So the Chit and Achit are here, and then we have the Paramatma. So Sri Krishna says in this sloka as Purushottama that one who realizes this Chit, Achit, Ishvara, Chetana, Achetana difference and performs Sampurna Bhakti at my divine feet and always look at me as Purushottama and seek refuge for liberation as one Atma which is Vimudatma. Vimudatma means Atma which is clear of any confusion. Moment we know that Sri Krishna is Purushottama, and as we saw in the earlier episode that Sri Krishna is our only true friend who is always with us, always inside us and always ready to help us, then that Atma will be Vimudatma because we are very very clear whom to go to, whom to ask for, and when we have Purushottama as our friend, what else we need? He is our Saka. We can go and hold his divine feet and always be clear that he will protect us at all times. So let us pray to Sri Krishna as Purushottama and be blessed. Namaste.
Madhava Achyuta Krishna Hare Rishikesha Kesava Govinda Vasudeva Bhagavan Janardana